Well, boys, with this past week's weekly reset, we saw the return of the Shadow Price. Now, I know that this weapon was available the first week of Season of the Chosen, but with all the other just new stuff going on, and the fact that most of you were probably not of level to properly farm for this weapon, including myself, I decided to hold off on making my God roll guide for it. But now that a few weeks have passed, and most of you are of level to hop into the Nightfall and get your hands on this thing, it's time. So in this video, I'm going to go over the best way to farm for the Shadow Price, even if you're a solo player, the best perk / the God roll, and finally a brief reasoning as to why you should go for this weapon even though 450s aren't currently meta. Ready? Let's go. By the way, if you already know how to farm for these Nightfall weapons and the drop rates / the increased drop rates happening this week, and you just want to hear about the perks, then skip to the time on screen now. I'm not trying to waste your time. The Shadow Price is a Nightfall weapon, so coincidentally, it's acquired via Nightfall strikes. Now, the difficulty of the Nightfall strikes you do does affect the drop rates of these Nightfall weapons. The Adept, or 1230, is going to offer the lowest drop rate of rare. The Hero, or 1270, is going to offer a drop rate of uncommon. And finally, the Legend, or 1300, and Master, or 1330, is going to offer a drop rate of common. Now, despite the Legend and Master both stating in-game that they offer the same drop rates, it has been proven that the Master actually has a much higher drop rate. That being one drop for every 2 to 3 runs compared to Legend, which is about one drop in every 5 to 6 runs. So if you're looking for the absolute best way to farm these Nightfall weapons, then getting a team together and running the Master is going to wield the best results. Now, if you're a solo player or you just don't have a team, then you could either A, join my community Discord, which has almost 6,000 members, and use that to find other solo players, or you could just farm Hero version, as that is the Nightfall with the highest drop rate while at the same time having matchmaking enabled. Now, I don't know about you, but finding a team via my Discord and getting a drop every 2 to 3 runs sounds a whole lot better than farming the 1270 with randoms that might not be trying to speedrun the Nightfall and getting a drop every 10-ish runs. Just saying, join the Discord. Now, one last thing about drop rates, and that's that currently in the game right now for the week of March 2nd through March 9th, Bungie has enabled double Nightfall drops, which is going to be pretty much doubling the drop rates of these Nightfall weapons along with all the other Nightfall loot. I tested this by going into the 1230 Nightfall and doing 3 runs. Remember, the 1230 has the lowest drop rate. Of those 3 runs, I got 2 Shadow Prices. So yeah, the drop rates are definitely increased. Now, starting today or Friday, March 5th, and going through the weekend, if you achieve Platinum, also known as just killing all the champions, then you will also be awarded double loot. Now, here's where it kind of gets a little tricky or just sticky, or just confusing really. I don't think that this will stack with the other 2 times Nightfall loot that's already active within the game, but if it does, then check the pinned comment as I'll update it there if that's the case, but I highly doubt it. Okay, so now that you know how to get your hands on the Shadow Price, or just any Nightfall weapon for that matter, let's talk about what perks you should be looking for. I'm going to mainly be discussing PvE, but I will give the PvP God roll at the end. The Shadow Price is a 450 RPM arc auto rifle. The in-game stats and hidden stats are on your screen now, and let's get into column 1. For column 1, you're going to find an assortment of 9 barrel options. In my opinion, you're really going to want range and maybe some stability if you're on controller. So perks like small bore for an increase to range and stability, corkscrew rifling for an increase to range, stability, and handling, hammer forge rifling for a flat increase to range, or polygonal rifling for a flat increase to stability are all going to be great choices depending on what you need. We all know that these first 1 to 2 columns really depend on if you're on mouse and keyboard or a controller, and if you need stability or not. But overall, I would say that small bore is going to be the best for controller, and hammer forge for M&K, unless you're feeling really ballsy on mouse and keyboard. Then you could also go with full bore for the most increased range, the cost of handling and stability, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now for column 2, and here you're gonna find 7 perks. Of those 7 perks, you're gonna wanna be looking for one that increases your mag size because it'll benefit a column 3 perk, but we'll get to that in just a second. So you have 3 different magazine options. Tactical mag for a mag increase of +2, but also an increase to stability and reload speed. Appended mag for a mag increase of +4. And finally, extended mag for a mag increase of +6, but a heavy decrease to reload speed. In my opinion, the best perk to go with here is either going to be tactical or appended. Both offer a good mag bump to benefit our column 3 perk without that terrible reload speed penalty that extended mag has. Speaking of column 3, let's take a look at it. Here you're gonna find 6 perks. Going in order from top to bottom, as you see on your screen, we have Overflow, 4 times the charm, Feeding Frenzy, Surplus, Killing Wind, and Bottomless Grief. Now, I mentioned a certain column 3 perk back in column 2, and that perk is going to be Overflow. Yes, Overflow is the best perk to roll in this column for PvE. Overflow is going to auto-reload this weapon beyond normal capacity whenever you pick up special or heavy ammo, even if the weapon is stowed. And yes, having a mag perk in column 2 is going to further the effects of Overflow. We all know how good Overflow is, so I'm not really going to go in depth. Just get it, okay? That's all you need to know. Overflow is amazing when it comes to primary ad clearing weapons. And finally, column 4, where you're going to find 6 perks. From top to bottom, Swashbuckler, One for All, Dragonfly, Disruption Break, Thresh, and Unrelenting. Now of those, wait, what is that? Is that a 7th perk? Oh, it's code myfi saving you 30% off all G Fuel products. And what's this? It increases your chance at obtaining God roll weapons within Destiny 2. Good God, that's a steal. But in all seriousness, my code is 30% off until the 8th. So if you're looking to increase your God roll drops, then I'd pick some up if I were you. Okay, back to column 4. Now, of those 6 perks, you have 3 options. Swashbuckler for a 33% damage increase after 5 kills with this weapon or 1 melee kill. One for All for a 35% damage increase after hitting 3 separate targets. And finally, Dragonfly for kabooms after getting a precision kill. The winner here is going to be One for All. Surprise, surprise. Who would have thought myfi picking One for All? For that 35% increased damage for an entire 10 seconds after just hitting 3 separate targets, even if they're immune. Runner-up is going to be Dragonfly if you want AoE ad clear, but I still think nothing beats One for All on an AR like this. So the God roll is for PvE, column 1, small bore, hammer forged, or polygonal rifling, depending on how much stability you need. Column 2, appended mag or tactical mag. Column 3, overflow. And finally, column 4, you're going to want One for All for a damage perk, or if you want an ad clear AoE perk, then Dragonfly, but I still recommend One for All. Then the God roll for PvP, column 1, same as PvE, just literally rewind by like 3 seconds. Column 2, accurized rounds. Column 3, Killing Wind or Surplus or even Overflow. The column 3 and for PvP is kind of like whatever. Column 4, Swashbuckler and the Masterwork for both PvE or PvP, range or stability if you need it. Now, the main reason as to why I recommend farming for a God roll is that we are currently using rocket launchers and just other crazy stuff that I don't think any of us thought that we'd ever be using. Bungie likes to change their sandbox pretty frequently, and 450s haven't been in the spotlight for a while. So I just have a feeling that that 450 buff is coming, you know? Now, I know that this is a pretty lame reasoning with no actual proof or evidence, but I still think it's worth your time. I mean, plus, what else are you gonna do, you know? Plus, this is like the best 450 RPM in the game, and if you already like to use 450s right now, then that's even more of a reasoning to go after this weapon. I know some people don't use meta stuff, and I've had to realize that as I've kind of grown as a content creator and covering these different roles, that not everyone is gonna use the most meta stuff because some people just don't enjoy it. And I know some people will literally use 450s, even though they get beaten out by other stuff, people still use them. So I'm still going to cover them. And that is your Shadow Price God roll guide, if you will. Now, before you head out, let me know in the comment section what rolls you've gotten on your Shadow Price and how you're liking the weapon. Are you actively using it, or are you just going for a God roll and then vaulting it for whenever Bungie does buff them? I'm curious as to what you all think. Now, I will be live tonight farming the Nightfall for a God roll over on twitch.tv/myfi with an underscore at the end. So if you want to drop a follow now and catch the stream, then I'd highly appreciate it. With all that being said, if you are new, and only if you enjoy the videos or have ever found them useful, then feel free to subscribe. We just hit 95,000 subscribers, and that big one hundo is right around the corner. If you enjoyed this video, then feel free to slap a like on it, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.